Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, and today we're going to be talking about Gitcoin. So this token has just released, but the project's been around for at least, I don't know, 2017 or something like that, right?
I'm not sure how long, but yeah, I've heard a lot about it, like over the last couple of years at least. And we actually know people personally have utilized it, to fund their own endeavors.
Yeah, I mean, even we were thinking about using it. We just never got around to it, but yeah, I think this is a project that has contributed to a lot of developers getting their projects out. And if you go through their website, you'll see a ton of projects I have listed, like from what's a project that we all know of? Pope, Proof of Attendance Protocol. That's on there. They've raised like 80 grand or 88 grand, something like that.
Yeah, popes are very popular these days, like especially in the virtual world scene. If you have enrolled events, people show up and you get this NFT collectible every time you go somewhere. Great idea. So yeah, they leverage this platform to help them build it, right?
Yeah, so let's kind of go through their announcement. So they have a Gitcoin governance token. So we've talked about DAOs a lot in this channel. There's definitely a lot of problems with the DAO. And just for example, Gitcoin basically forked the DAO's like smart contract from, what's that project called? Compound. Yeah, so they're using Compound's DAO governance system. So this is Compound's like one of the biggest projects in the crypto space. It's one of the biggest DAOs, and it governs a stable coin. And so this is a pretty kind of bulletproof type of DAO, right? A common DAO that is being leveraged by Gitcoin. But what's interesting here is that 50% of the supply has already been allocated to, from the community to like stakers, and then the remaining 50% is going to be unlocked over the course of 2 years. And the main use case for this DAO token is to have the community vote for funding proposals from the wider developer base. So we know that Gitcoin funding developers is the single most important thing in the crypto space. I mean, we focus on that in our own projects, and this is a fundamental piece that helps communities and projects like actually get off the ground. So this is extremely important, and having Gitcoin like operate without a token kind of has fueled its value right now. So let's see. Let me pull up CoinGecko so we can see what's going on. So Gitcoin releasing their token has like launched at like an extremely high valuation, right? Almost $200 million. And so 50% of that being unlocked over the next 2 years, we're talking about $100 million potentially accessible from the community to give out to projects. So this is, if you're a developer, you're like salivating. You're like already like typing it up on your MacBook Air, and you have already a proposal ready to go because of like there's a huge potential here. So
yeah.
Okay, let me go back to some of the points here. So we talked about how Gitcoin funds developers, and it's not just developers too, right? It's podcasts. It's anything that's related to cryptocurrencies. I think that's the focus for Gitcoin. But I think we've seen like other projects like planting trees and, smaller stuff like that too, right?
Well, they say public goods, so I mean that implies like pretty broad reach, right? It doesn't say anywhere like crypto goods, public goods, meaning like I think their overall mission, right? Like you can correlate this a lot to Kickstarter's model, right? Like in Kickstarter sense, you could create a Kickstarter campaign for anything, right? I want to build the next virtual reality headset.
Yeah.
Got the killer design. All I need is money. Come contribute. Or
Yes.
I want to plant 1 million trees in Costa Rica for whatever reason, even though they got plenty of trees, Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's put trees everywhere. So let's fund it. So yeah. I think they're replicating that same, I guess, like value add that the Kickstarter ecosystem can create,
yes,
leveraging like the crypto economics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. So it says the Gitcoin allocated to the DAO will become available for distribution in equal months installments over the course of the next 2 years. So the full allocation would be unlocked by May 25th, 2023. What I'm wondering is how to accomplish what they're talking about here. So it says Gitcoin will utilize a fork of Compound's governance framework, meaning all proposals feature a 1% minimum proposal threshold, a 2.5% quorum, and require 51% majority to pass. So essentially 1% of Gitcoin tokens needs to be held by the proposer, in order to get a project out there. So I'm wondering, how do you go about as a developer acquiring 1% of Gitcoin tokens?
I think it has a lot to do with they have like a delegator program within their DAO. So, you as a token holder have the ability to assign your weight to another individual within the ecosystem, right? So let's say somebody, because they have a big forum board filled with, community proposals, right? But nothing's on chain at that point. But let's say something gets real popular within that community, like, oh, this is a great idea. Maybe within that proposal, he's linking his, consolidate all your votes to me, sure, and then I'll bring this proposal on chain. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I can get 1% of you guys to agree with me, we can get this initiative started, so we at least get some like governance attention, right?
Sure. Okay, so that makes sense. So now that the proposer has 1% of the tokens staked on his like proposal, then you need at least 2.5% of the supply to actually vote. If you don't have the 2.5% supply voting, then there's no way it'll pass. So if you do get beyond that threshold, you still need 51% of the total votes to be in favor in order to get that funding.
Yeah, so it's got to be pretty banging idea, you know what I mean? And that's the point. It's to filter out the noise of ideas and like only consider the real pertinent stuff, I guess. I don't know how difficult it really is to get 2.5% of people to pay attention.
It feels pretty hard. It feels difficult.
Yeah, I think so too, dude. That sounds pretty tough. So,
but you know what? It's worked for Compound, right? That's their framework, and they are still alive, right? And they have a functioning DAO, so it makes sense that Gitcoin uses it.
Yeah. So this is interesting, but I guess the big like takeaway message is like, what's the result of like this Gitcoin DAO, organizing in the similar fashion that Compound does? Compound is a protocol, right? Like it's a DeFi protocol. It's what's the main service of Compound? Lending?
It's to provide a stable coin. That's the main service.
That's MakerDAO. Compound.
It's lending. It's lending. You're right.
Lending protocol.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like Gitcoin, I mean, it's not a protocol, right? It's like a community of like philanthropic, yes, I guess, like support, I guess, for projects, whatever, initiatives. So
I think I know where you're going with this. So
where am I going?
So basically, so this is one of the problems that we feel we see very common in DAOs is like there is no incentive mechanism to just give out money, right? There needs to be some sort of ROI to make a DAO sustainable. And if you have a project that just like funds different projects without some sort of return on investment, how do you continue that service?
Meaning like at the end of the 2 years, right? Like all the funds are divvied out. Like what happens at that point?
Yeah.
Like how do you continue to support from there? Yeah, I agree. Maybe at this point, the DAO has to realize this impending dilemma that's like 2 years out, but maybe not enough focus is on it, right? Like, sure, what happens once all our tokens are exhausted? We're not going to just mint more, are we? That's going to screw everybody over,
Yeah.
So what is that income generating activity in the sense, most protocols have some type of fee attached to it, right? So the protocol is earning some kind of revenue, and the DAO has interest in like, supporting these activities because, the more revenue a protocol generates, the higher the token usually goes. You know what I mean?
See, and that should be the incentive for the DAO to like fund like reasonably like well thought out projects. Projects that are well thought out have a chance at surviving and therefore a chance at generating some type of revenue and therefore funding the DAO that gave them the initial infusion of capital. So I feel like I feel like that needs to be a large component. We're not seeing it here in their kind of explanation of Gitcoin. The
I
token.
feel like that's gonna naturally like come about like within that community, right? Because I think I like the model of Gitcoin. Like first they proved the concept, right? Without a token, like they built the platform, they built the community, they onboarded the interest, and like it worked. They built but mostly it was it was self funded, right? Money out of people's pockets.
Sounds familiar.
Like,
sure.
Yeah, not a ton of money was being contributed, but now basically by launching this token, they've evolved to like the next phase, and now this community has like superpowers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have
$100 million worth of superpowers.
Yeah, they have like some serious capital at stake now, and they have a lot more power now. Yeah, I think like things just got a lot more serious for the Gitcoin community. You know what I mean? As far as like, well, what? Yeah, how do we harness this power and actually produce some like serious good with it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I think one of the things that I really like about this this Gitcoin like DAO proposal is that they mitigate the whales from controlling the vote, and they do that with quadratic voting. So essentially, a whale isn't as their voting weight isn't as heavy as an individual person actually voting. So they have a few examples here, and definitely read through this article here by Gitcoin, kind of like explains everything. But essentially for a whale voting, it has like a square root rate of voting power. So it's significantly less than the amount of tokens that they're holding, but their vote has more weight than a person holding a single Gitcoin token, right? But nonetheless, it is a way to mitigate the whales who kind of control a lot of the DAOs today. And I think we're going to see the quadratic voting implemented a lot more often, just because it feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah, because I mean that's one of the big dilemmas of like these DAO 1.0 versions we've seen so far, right? Like they're very susceptible to like collusion and like whale domination, right? Like whoever owns the majority of a token supply has pretty much complete control over what goes down, right? So what's the solution to that?
Yeah,
this is a pretty good idea, and it seems to be working. But basically, what you said though is like it takes away some of the whale's voting power, right, and distributes it back to like the lesser, the minnows, right?
Yeah,
that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah, okay. Just because we've seen already examples where whales control the vote, so there needs to be some mathematical representation of like reducing the power of a whale. I mean, they should have some say, right? Because they hold a ton of tokens, right? They're incentivized to have a constructive ecosystem, right? They don't want to just like destroy themselves, because that would destroy their value. So I think with this mathematical function, right, this quadratic function, it allows them to contribute and have more weight, but not so much more weight where they're dictating everything.
Yeah, great point. That's the big takeaway from that for sure.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think I don't know. This is just more. This is why the DAO topic is just so interesting. It's constantly changing and evolving, and it's so you could take this in a million different directions, like how to govern things, in the decentralized world. But ultimately, like this is the thing, right? Like this is the most important thing in my mind, at least. Like figuring out these little processes to get to the point where now every application out there in the blockchain space is like efficiently, governed by its users.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's interesting because if you go through some of the projects that you can fund, there's you can use any ERC20 token to fund them. But I think with this new token, I think there's going to be like probably a different place within the site where the community gets to vote for individual projects, and then the DAO funds these projects. So here's an example of POPE, the proof of attendance protocol. I think they raised very close, 82,000. And
and when you dig even deeper, like another big component to this is like funding like developers through other means, right? Like bounty systems and stuff like that, hackathons and whatnot. Like,
yes,
I could see the potential emerging for like and actually it's already been happening. If you go through their hackathon like historical records, like big name entities coming to Gitcoin to kind of like source developer contribution. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's aggregating this platform is aggregating the developers in the Ethereum ecosystem, which that's a lot of value, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, if the developers know they come to Gitcoin to find opportunities to, like, freelance their talents to, projects. I mean, that's massive, especially in a decentralized ecosystem where, all you need to do is incentivize this contribution a little bit,
Yeah, so here are the hackathons we're talking about. So like this one's launching a $500,000 worth of bounties and grants to build a DeFi on Bitcoin. So that's pretty ambitious. $500,000 is a lot of money. So there's obviously a lot of activities or bounties that people can contribute to. So, and they're using Gitcoin as the interface to do that on. Same thing with Harmony One, right? This was a Binance Launchpad token, and they're using Gitcoin to have this hackathon round 2 happening here. And
yeah.
So as a developer, you can come in and contribute to these bounties and get compensated. So that's a huge. It's like it's like an economy of like developers kind of aggregating to one place and like just contributing. And in return, you get that notoriety, right? You get to rank in the leaderboards and contribute to a project. So
yeah, and you're building that identity for yourself, right? We talk about identity a lot on this channel, like
that's right,
on-chain identity. So like you're building that historical data, for yourself, so that I'm sure you're going to open a lot more opportunities for yourself when you have a track record of like thousands of bounties achieved.
Mm-hmm.
I've completed all these hackathons, yada yada yada. I've earned over $1 million on Gitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. How much value are you creating for yourself as a developer?
Dude, absolutely.
Leveraging this type of ecosystem, right?
Yeah. Imagine climbing that leaderboard, and all of a sudden you're going to get offers from all these companies to come work for them. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have like the ability to choose what you do, continue working on Gitcoin and like grants and bounties and all that, or just, work for a company that you believe in largely.
True. Yeah. You don't have to, you just keep doing this, right? If you already made $1 million, you're your own boss, right? Like that's the best. That's always best if you could just, exist that way. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is great for sure.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of top earners here. This guy, 1.8 million. I looked at his profile. There's like, I don't know who this guy is, but not a whole lot of stuff is happening. But like, it's leaderboard saying that he has 1.8 million. So I don't know. I think this is like fairly new.
Yeah, check out the guy below him, because I looked at him and his looked way more legit. Like he has tons of accolades. Like look at all those ratings.
Almost 4,000 transactions. 695,000 funded, number 3 on the leaderboard. Yeah, this looks more what I would expect.
Yeah, this is legit. He's got tons of tips,
bounties.
I mean, this guy is active. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look at that. The swag store for Gitcoin. Yeah, this is nice. 3 ETH, dude. This is great, man.
Yeah,
this is the gig economy for blockchain right here.
Agreed.
For developers.
Yeah, so I think Gitcoin as a project is entering that phase, and I guess the crypto space as a whole, like, I mean, there's obviously a shortage of smart contract developers out there.
Yeah,
in the industry. So if Gitcoin could figure out a way to like really bring them all into a single location, and then almost create like this this bidding war ecosystem where like projects have to come to Gitcoin in order to source these developers, like, I mean, that's huge. That's massive.
Speaking of,
yeah,
I was just going to say, speaking of, they have a section for learning how to develop, how to do smart contracts and develop that smart contracting skill. And it's all through here. It's like there's a fellowship, there's workshops and hackathons. So all those resources and tools are all here for the early developers out there getting into smart contracts. So this is a good resource. Yeah,
100%. And yeah, like it's worth it. Like if you have any chops at all in the development space, it is not a bad idea to get involved. Like, cause I mean,
you're gonna
literally
benefit.
Like your turds are gonna be worth gold. You know, like that's how valuable smart contract developers are.
All right, and on that note, we will take that and let us know if you have any questions. Are you bullish on Gitcoin? And follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner, and also at MetaZone.io, and also at Ethermon_NFT. And yeah, like, subscribe, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace out.